Hey guys, and welcome to episode 280 of Built on Passion. I'm your host, Matt Dello Buono, and this week we have on Ranger Ready co-founder, Chris Fuentes. Ranger Ready makes a highly effective Picaridin insect repellent designed to be a much safer and much more effective bug spray. Mosquitoes and tick bites aren't something to be taken lightly. Obviously, they can be a pretty big annoyance, but there are some really life-changing diseases that you're exposed to when you get bitten. So you have to ask yourself, how can you actually protect yourself from exposure? Ranger Ready has been meticulously tested for effectiveness and has a scientific guarantee of offering 12 hours of protection. In this episode of Built on Passion, Chris Fuentes shares what led him to dedicate himself to creating a better bug spray option, how they managed to stay committed to their mission, developed a devoted team leading to unparalleled customer service and satisfaction, and the how and why behind Ranger Ready. Chris, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Matt, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Who are you and what do you do?
I'm a guy who has spent the last 40 years trying to invent a better product. I was born in the 50s and I grew up in Germany in the 60s and 70s. My dad worked for the US government during the Cold War. So I grew up around the military. So I have this military background. I've always been fascinated around what military people need for their own safety and own protection. And that was one of the genesis of creating Ranger Ready. And that's where we've gone to some degree. Both my partner, Ted Kest, and I wanted to do something that was going to be better for future generations. We raised our family just 50 miles down the road from Old Lyme, Connecticut, the epicenter of Lyme disease in the United States. It's actually where it was discovered. As I raised my family, everybody was getting Lyme disease. Our dogs were getting sick. People were getting sick. Then I got Lyme disease and I ended up in the hospital in pretty severe shape, and I was kind of like, this is not a good thing. And I started to try and, understand what's the problem here. And the problem is that the amount of ticks in our population is just expanding so quickly because of climate change. And deer do carry ticks, they do, but it's really any warm-blooded creature outside. So squirrels and birds, dogs are tick taxis. They carry ticks in and out. They're the ones who are the vectors or the taxi for you to get bitten by ticks, especially at home. Picaridin, the product we use, and permethrin, the product we use, it's safe both around horses and around dogs.
How did you develop this as a product? Was it more so facilitating getting something that existed and bringing it into the mainstream, or did you come up with your own formulations for this?
We actually did both, Matt. People don't like the bug spray in this country. 100 million people a year use DEET. That's a lot of people. And we couldn't find a lot of people who liked it. We just decided, we can build a better product, and we did. In other countries, they use Picaridin. It's just a much more effective, much more friendly. It's much better for your body. It doesn't corrode stuff. You can use it on kids. You can use it during pregnancy. There was a better product available, and that's how we decided to bring it to the US. And we added to it. So we use premium alcohol. We use high-end fragrances. If you hate the smell of bug spray, you were not going to put it on again. For hunters, Scent Zero, which doesn't smell at all. We then also said, don't put it in an aerosol can. 20% of it is isobutane. And because you have to have the isobutane, you waste the last 10%. And then you take that can and you put them in a landfill. So we created this 360-degree spray that sprays upside down, so that you can spray in the back of your neck and the back of your legs without aerosol. Picaridin acts like pepper. Ticks and mosquitoes have receptors, and it's literally just like getting pepper sprayed, and they bounce back.
One thing I noticed about Ranger Ready, when I was doing a bit of my research, I recognized that there's a lot of purpose behind it. It's a purpose-driven brand. How did you develop that purpose drive into Ranger Ready?
We designed Ranger Ready for uniformed pros. We know that rangers are the most trusted authority figures to people. Park rangers have more credibility about helping you understand how to protect yourself because their goal is to protect the environment and you. So we're teaching the teachers. And then our second purpose was, look, we can do things better environmentally. We source everything locally that we can. And then the other part of it is, Matt, we believe that climate change, it's real. The ticks and mosquitoes are a leading indicator of what's going to happen.
How do you help people understand the difference between standard crappy bug spray on the market and Ranger Ready?
There's a lot of, I think, misinformation around bug spray. The truth is you don't have to get bitten. You can use bug spray and not smell bad, not hurt your skin, not hurt your gear, and you just need to use it properly. The United States is the only market who thinks that more DEET is better. So our goal right now is to counter that information on a more public level, each state at a time.
the concept of bug spray isn't necessarily a new one. So did you have to do a lot of market research to kind of figure out the direction you wanted to take this?
Matt, frankly, all of our really good testing has come by coincidence. So the first interesting test that we've had was a corpsman. He went out and bought our product from a drugstore. And he bought many products from the drugstore. And he said, we just cannot get bitten anymore. And that corpsman works for the training center for the Navy SEALs. Our goal was to protect people who had to be outdoors in uniform.
What advice would you give to someone who wanted to start a business?
Don't do it. Surround yourself with people who are good advisors and give you good advice. You have to have good customer care too. You got to care about your customers a lot and make sure your idea is sound. The hardest part of an entrepreneur is getting other people to believe your story. And we're getting there.
Well, it seems like you finally really got people's attention, especially with something that has the serious science behind it. I mean, it's a lifesaver for me personally. I hate mosquitoes.
Well, you're going to try it this spring, right?
Oh yeah. You sold me on it within the first 5 minutes of talking. Sold, beyond sold.
Hey, Matt, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I guess I'll see you outdoors on the Ready Ready path.
Oh yeah, 100%. And for anyone who's interested in finding out more about Ranger Ready, where's the best place for them to head?
Go to rangerready.com. And if you're an Amazon Prime consumer, just push Prime and it shows up the next day.
All right, Chris, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Take care. Be safe.